Hi, this is going to be a special video where I talk about the modes and show off the costumes of the game. I'm talking not just about heavy and light mode, but also about the difference between original mode and arrange mode, which is actually a sub-level of difficulty modes despite what you might think. When you select light mode in this specific version of the game, you get this screen that tells you about the ammo, the gunpowder and the healing items. As far as I know, it only appears in this specific version of the game. But I might be wrong. It definitely does not appear in Resident Evil International version of the game. As you can see, in the light mode we get a lot of ammo, a special weapon, the assault rifle, and a lot of healing. So we might as well actually use it and try and kill all the zombies. This is something that is literally impossible to do if you start the game in any other mode, at least from the start, because you just don't have enough ammo to kill everyone. There's actually no point in killing everyone here because there are invisible walls that prevent you from going back inside Jill's flat, the apartment building, and you can't go anywhere else except to go and escape. But this might be a very good way to show off every costume. Just showing the opening of the game. So it doesn't get boring, I decided to just put some nice music from the soundtrack of the game, including the first track that already finished that isn't available in the PC version of the game. What is also unique to the light mode is that in the item box you get a lot of weapons and ammo for them, and you even get something exclusive in terms of ammo, and you get infinite ink ribbons just from the start. So the exclusive thing is this clip for the assault rifle. You cannot get this kind of clip anywhere else. It's exclusive just for the light or easy mode of the game. Now when we got everything, let's go outside just to the first area and try to see how much damage do we deal to enemies and how much damage does Jill take before she dies. I'll have a special overlay showing how much damage it takes, and I also will speed this up because otherwise it's going to be pretty boring. As you can see, in the original light mode Jill only takes 11 zombie bites before she dies, but zombies die in about 4 handgun shots. Judging by handgun shots is not super precise just because of the fact that handgun can actually score criticals from time to time, and because there are moments where you can miss or the game just won't count your shot because enemy was in some special animation. Let's go into the heavy mode right now and select a different costume. Something that you might be noticing already is that I'm color coding every difficulty name, difficulty mode name at the top right. It's because every difficulty in the game actually has its own color when you save the game, so when you go to the load screen, every difficulty will have a special color that signifies which mode you're playing in. And those are the colors that I'm trying to use here. So the costume number 3, the Special 3 costume, is supposedly a reference to Saturday Night Fever, the famous disco movie from the late 70s. Personally, I usually don't play with any of the costumes except for the original normal costume and the costume that I've selected to play with in the second playthrough, which kinda ties to the character of Jill in general, because it's her original costume from Resident Evil 1. As we can see, original heavy mode doesn't actually have anything. It's basically the usual hard mode from Resident Evil 3. But there is a difference, and that difference is why I have not selected to play in original heavy mode for my second playthrough. Let's grab a heal because we got damaged during the opening part, and let's grab some more ammo. This ammo right here in that specific box isn't actually available in easy and light mode at all. That shelf box thing just completely empty, and it says that there's nothing there. So as we can see, Jill still has around 11 zombie bites, actually precisely 11 zombie bites before she dies, but zombies now take up to 7 shots. By zombie bites I count the times when you can clearly hear when a zombie is biting Jill. There's a special sound and there's usually a blood splatter as well. So I'm not just counting grabs. Now let's go into arrange mode and let's see the main difference between arrange mode and the original mode. Going with light mode, we still get this special screen that shows up when we started. Again, it's not something that you usually find in Resident Evil 3, but it does appear here. Maybe it was never localized. So right now Jill is wearing some special police costume. I don't know, maybe it's a regional police costume or something like that. I guess it kinda ties to her character, but it still looks a bit weird. So since we're playing on light mode, as expected, you still get the assault rifle, the healing items, and in the item box, you still get a lot of weapons. You might have noticed that we don't get all the weapons that are in the game. We don't have the grenade launcher or grenades, and we don't have the mine thrower there. We obviously also don't have the rocket launcher, but that is kind of obvious, I guess. Also note that since we have the infinite increments from the start, there are absolutely no increments in the game. Also, light mode has several disadvantages. That is, you cannot unlock anything in the game, epilogues or anything like that. And Nemesis, every time you drop him, doesn't drop any loot at all. So fighting him is absolutely pointless in the light mode. As we can see, the main difference here is that Jill's health is now only 8 zombie bites instead of 11. Zombies still take around 4 shots, 2 to 5 in this case, but Jill's health is only 8 bites. And that will be the main difference, as we will see as we go to arrange heavy mode, is that Jill's health is what's different. Oh, and hello Regina. Huh. Anyway, this is the main character of Dino Crisis. And specifically for that, let's just listen to some Dino Crisis music. So for those who don't know, Dino Crisis is a game that was released the same year as Resident Evil 3. It's another survival horror game from Capcom, in fact developed and directed by Shinji Mikami, the person who was usually considered the father of Resident Evil. He was the director of the original Resident Evil and later directed Resident Evil 4 as well. It was branded not as survival horror but more as panic horror, I believe. And the main enemies there, as you might guess from the name, were dinosaurs. And this costume is pretty much almost exactly like the costume and the wig, well, the hair, in case of Regina, the main character of Dino Crisis, that character wears. It's a really good game that I really love playing, that also has PC version that I might actually come around to making a video about. As we can see, Jill still has 8 health, and zombies, as with the original heavy mode, take up to 7 hits. So it's Jill's health that is different, not zombie health. And as I was telling, the save files are color-coded. So what we see is Arrange Heavy Mode, Original Light Mode, and Arrange Light Mode. Now let's go to Resident Evil 3 and check Easy and Hard Mode, which is exactly as Light Mode and Heavy Mode in Biohazard, but which Light Mode and Heavy Mode is the question. Let's start with Easy Mode and the next costume. Costume 6 is actually exclusive to PC version. There are several two costumes which appear in 2 versions of the game. Costume 6 and Costume 7 appear in PC version and Dreamcast version. However, Costume 6 is changed in Dreamcast version. It's kind of the same. It also looks kind of like a reskin of the main costume Jill wears in the game. However, the colors are different. As we can see in this version, she's wearing black and blue, which sounds not good. But anyway, in the Dreamcast version of the game, the costume is the same, but the colors are instead brown and blue. We still get all these the weapons as the exclusive, as the light mode in the Biohazard does, and we can now check the description of the ammo for assault rifle. The ink ribbon doesn't have any different description, but if we check the description for the ammo, we can, for the magazine for the M4A1, we can learn about it. Because again, as I'm saying, this is the only time we can actually see this magazine in the game. You can't get it any other way at all, in any of the game modes, in any of the game parts. As we can see, Jill still has 8 health and zombies still get 4 to 5 shots. Mostly 4. Which is exactly as Arrange light mode, not Original light mode. Now the reasoning behind this is that it's called Original because this was the original Japanese difficulty, and since Biohazard is the Japanese release, Original mode signifies specifically that original Japanese difficulty mode. Arrange mode is the international Resident Evil 3 difficulty mode. So if you want to play the game with the same difficulty that you get in Resident Evil 3, you play in Arrange mode, not in Original mode. And this is the costume that is exclusive to Dreamcast and PC version, and unlike the previous costume, it is exactly the same in both versions. What is interesting is that both of these exclusive costumes are actually not as crazy, I guess, as some of the other special costumes that you can get in the game, which makes them, in my opinion at least, a bit better and more interesting to actually try them out. Unfortunately, they still don't show up in the CGI cutscenes for obvious reasons. We kinda know what to expect from this mode from now, because we played the game entirely in it before, and it's exactly the same. And as we will see, and don't mind that infinite assault rifle for now, I will explain that much later. But as we will see, this is exactly as a range heavy mode. Because, as I explained, range mode is the international difficulty mode. So let's just check it out, make sure that I'm correct, and I am. And after that, let's just see the color codes for the Resident Evil 3, which uses slightly different colors for some reason. More specifically, the hard mode color is the same as original heavy mode, but easy mode uses a different color that is not used in Biohazard 3 release at all. So it's white and blue.